and Celebration of Life, written by Sandy Pound. In a small town north of Peoria, Illinois, there lived a young couple. The husband had just received full-time employment as a machinist, and he and his wife were in the process of building a small home together. It was during the Great Depression, and they felt very fortunate. If only they had children to share it with. Having tried desperately to have children of their own, they decided to adopt. They went to the county adoption services, where they met a very kind social worker. They, like most couples, wanted a baby. But one morning in 1940, Mrs. Henny Penny called them to ask if they would please come with me today. There are 2 little boys, both 4-year-olds, both adorable, both having a lot of love to give to a new mommy and daddy. I feel strongly that one of them will be the right child for you. They were living on 2 separate farms. It was sure to be a long day. At the first farm, they met a cute, serious, comical little boy who took them on a tour of the farm. He was trying hard to explain how the farm worked to the city couple, who appeared interested. As they were walking, the child was instructing how handy a red wagon could be on the farm. The husband, trying to entice the little boy, said to him, "If you came to our house, you might be able to have a red wagon of your own." "Got one," exclaimed the boy. He was not going to acquiesce to just any stranger. They walked some more, discussing all things farm and things of interest to a 4-year-old boy. The woman was completely charmed by this little aficionado of farming.
The tour over, they walked to the back door to the farmhouse and entered the kitchen. Mrs. Henny Penny was there as they sat down to talk while enjoying coffee and fresh cornbread made by the farmer's wife. They discussed hard times, current political issues, and of course the boy. While they were talking, the boy stood next to the couple and stared at the bench they were sitting on. The woman invited him to sit with them. He smiled and went directly to the middle and crawled up between them. Soon he snuggled up, put his head on the husband's lap, and fell asleep. Mrs. Henny Penny stood up and said, "Well, we must really go now. We have another farm to visit." The husband looked up at her and said, "No." Then looking down at the sleeping child and turning to his wife, he smiled. She nodded. "Our decision has been made. The space in our hearts has been filled." Thus began the journey of Jerry Gross in the company of his new mom and dad. It was a good, love-filled life. As he filled the space in the hearts of our mom and dad, he has also filled the space in the hearts of all who met him. Ever the jokester, storyteller, best friend, best brother, best son, best grandson. Even our little grandma was crazy about him, and she didn't trust her like anyone. Best nephew, best husband, best dad, and best grandpa. How fortunate were we that circumstances brought him to us. How wonderful to look back on fun times, share stories, and hold his hands in those last days with us. How wonderful it is that our mom came to take him on this next journey. I hope she comes for me when the time comes. Thank you for all being here and celebrating a good, love-filled life.
it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. The time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we can only lose, and our love become a funeral pyre. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire.
magic woman, got a black magic woman. I've got a black magic woman, got me so blind I can't see that she's a black magic woman. She's trying to make a devil out of me. Don't turn your back on me, baby. Don't turn your back on me, baby. Yes, don't turn your back on me, baby. Stop messing around with your tricks. Don't turn your back on me, baby.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jerry. Happy birthday to you.
Contributing a 6 and 7.
A 7 and a 7.
Got your spell on me, baby. You got your spell on me.